A young investor messaged me the other day and said, I've stopped reading annual reports. I just asked ChatGPT to summarize them for me. I didn't say much, but I sat with that line for a while because on the surface, it sounds efficient, even very smart. Why waste time digging through pages of corporate jargon when a tool can do it for you in seconds? But beneath the surface, I think we are quietly walking into a trap where we confuse information with understanding, where we confuse speed with wisdom and convenience with insight. And I want to talk about that today. I want to take the other side of the current excitement around AI in investing. And not because I'm against technology, but because I believe that investing or real investing is still a deeply human activity. And handing over your thinking to a machine may seem smart today, but it might cost you your edge tomorrow. Now, let's be honest, AI is a brilliant tool. It can read more documents in 5 seconds than I can in 5 days. It can summarize earning calls. It can pull out ratios, highlight peer comparisons, and even explain business models that used to take hours for research. It's like having an army of intelligent interns working for you around the clock. But the thing is that investing is not a game of who has the most data or information. It's a game of who can interpret it wisely. A machine can tell you that a company's operating margins has declined from 22% to say 19%, but it can't tell you whether that's a temporary headwind, a signal of a broken moat, or just noise in an otherwise sound business. That judgment, that ability to look beyond the numbers is still uniquely human. One of the biggest myths I see today is that the more data you have, the better your decision will be. But anyone who's actually been investing for long knows that more data often just creates more confusion. What matters is not how much you know, but whether you know what matters. AI doesn't have that discernment, at least not as of now. It doesn't know which numbers carry weight and which ones are just filling space. It doesn't feel tension when a CEO's words don't match the company's actions. It doesn't raise its eyebrows when a note in the footnotes contradicts the optimistic tone of the presentation. And that's something only a human being who spent time with real businesses and made real mistakes can sense. Another problem is that AI has no skin in the game. It doesn't feel the pain of being wrong. It doesn't feel regret. It doesn't have any memory of past mistakes because it never owns any decision. But as investors, we carry those bruises. And ironically, those bruises make us better. They make us cautious in the right places and bold in others. They help us build the intuition that can't be taught, only earned. That's why people like Warren Buffett, they often talk about temperament as more important than IQ. It's not what you know, it's how you react when what you know stops working. So AI can navigate that storm. It doesn't have any emotions, yes, but it also doesn't have wisdom. And let's not forget that AI is trained on the past. Its entire intelligence is based on what has happened. But the markets don't care about the past. They are constantly forward looking. Prices move not on what's known, but on what's not yet known, on imagination, on human behavior, on changing narratives. AI can process patterns, but investing requires the ability to see breaks in those patterns, to notice when something new is happening, to question assumptions, to step outside of what's already been programmed. In that sense, AI is clever, but it's not creative. It can find trends, but it can't tell you when the trend is about to end. There's also a hidden danger in how AI speaks. It speaks with confidence. It gives you answers in a clear, very polished tone. And that can be deceptive because you start to believe it. You stop questioning, you lose the habit of digging deeper. And that's a real trap. Not that the answer is wrong, but that you stop thinking, you stop wrestling with the ambiguity that real investing demands. I made some of my worst investment decisions when I felt overconfident because I thought I had all the data and information. I confused knowing a company's numbers with understanding its story. And that's something AI might make worse, not better, because it makes you feel smarter than you are. Let's bring this closer to home. Think about the Indian market. We've had companies that looked great on paper. They had decent return ratios, growing revenues, professional management, all things. But something didn't smell right. Maybe it was a tone in the con call. Maybe it was too many aggressive promises. Maybe it was a CEO showing up too often on business channels and too little in front of shareholders. An experienced investor would pause, AI would not. It would just summarize the facts. It would not notice that subtle shift in the culture of the business. And when the fall comes, you won't see it coming because your tool didn't either. Now, this isn't to say that AI is useless. Far from it. It's a great co pilot. Use it to speed up your initial research, to organize your thoughts, to check your facts, to summarize transcripts. But the moment you hand over your thinking to it, you are outsourcing your edge. And remember that in investing, your edge is everything. Everyone has access to the same data, everyone will soon have access to the same tools, but not everyone will have the same judgment, same discipline, and temperament. That's what separates good investors from great ones. So you're allowed to use AI, but don't let it replace the slow, the deeply human process of understanding a business. Read the full annual report, attend the conference call, listen to the tone of the voice, look at how a promoter has behaved across cycles, understand how customers talk about the product. These things can't be summarized in a neat bullet point, and that's the beauty of investing. It rewards those who look beyond what's obvious. So here's my final humble advice. Let AI do the chores, but you do the thinking. Let it be the assistant, not the investor. Because the most important questions in investing are not what's a P ratio or what's a CAGR return. They are, do I really understand this business? Do I trust this management? And will I sleep well holding this stock through a storm? And those answers don't come from code. They come from curiosity, they come from experience, and from reflection, which are all deeply human things. Thank you for watching. If this made you pause and reflect, that's all I hope for. Because in a world of instant answers, sometimes the wisest thing you can do is to take your time. Thank you so much.